Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. You are very welcome to the 80th episode of the Take a Pull podcast. We're 4/5 of the way to 100, Dec. What about that? Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? And we haven't got in trouble yet.
No, we're nearly there. We're still on the air. Good to know. But like Jenny Mac, I cannot believe we are 4/5 of the way to 100. I was trying to actually, before I came on, trying to earmark what the 100 episode would be. I don't know if we'll make it by the Dublin Racing Festival. We'd easily be there by Easter, I'd say. Yeah. We need to try and maybe make sure it lands on something decent. Like as much as this podcast is all about covering the Thursdays at Thurles and Clonmel and all those good areas, maybe we need a little landmark podcast. Answers on a postcard, please, if anybody's in the comments for suggestions or what you might like to see for the 100th episode, because it is coming up. Maybe a Tap Hall of Fame or something, Dec. Something like that. Little fun pod. Yeah. Look, we've had a small hiatus of about a week and a half. Life got in the way, unfortunately, for us. But we're back now. How have things been with you, Dec, since last seen you?
All good. I suppose we got together last night.
I suppose, yeah. We
were back on another podcast with Joe, Jamie, and Scotty, and
good fun.
Yeah, it was a change of scenery for us now, and a little bit different for us to be discussing Forerunner British Novice hurdles, but we got through it. Still through hopefully a couple of doozies at the end.
Fingers crossed.
We
including one at Cork.
At the end of this, if anyone's missed them, but it looks at things, nobody's missed them.
No, it doesn't appear that way, to be honest, at all. It was real. Much appreciated for Joe inviting us on the show. The Ginger Joe Racing Show, if anybody wants to subscribe or watch that up on Twitter/YouTube. Good fun, good 2-hour chat with the lads and we had to talk about the Cheltenham anti-posters, but Dec said not our forte, but we gave it a good go anyway. Good fun. Let's get it straight into this, Dec, because this is a good card on Saturday at Fairyhouse. 11:30 kickoff for the Irish Stallion Farms EBF Beginners Chase. This is a very strong beginners, no surprise at this time of year. I think this has been the beginners chase won by the likes of El Fabiolo. Undisco, I think, won this. So Willie Mullins tends to run one of his better novices in it, and no surprise we see their chasing debut of the 4-year-old trying for the winner from last season, Malsborough. Mark Walsh taking the ride for JP McManus and Willie Mullins. Carrying 11 stone 6, so getting a little bit of a weight for age there. Very inexperienced, going chasing straight away. I think it's the right decision. He is joined by last year's Supreme Novices Hurdle favourite Tully Hill and a horse that ran very, very well in the Supreme Novices Hurdle, Asian Master. So he's not going to have it all his own way, I wouldn't imagine. A horse that you liked as well, Dec, last year, Western Fold, in here to make his chasing debut. Still only 5, hard to believe, but he is. And then there's a few nice looking horses like Mispronunciation, who was a little bit disappointing, I suppose, on her chasing debut. So there's probably going to be other days for her, and Theatre Native in there too. So, Dec, it's a really strong beginner's chase to start off. Do you think it's a penalty kick from Malsborough?
I'm not sure it's a penalty kick. We spoke about Asian Master and
my worst fears came to light there.
Sorry?
My worst fears came to light there.
Yeah. Look, we discussed how exciting he could be going over a fence and what you could do with him. So I don't think he's going to have it all his own way. And Tully Hill is in here as well. Like, he was 8th in the Supreme. I think he took him along. He's been a bit hot and cold, but he's one who could improve an awful lot for fences. He could be a different animal over fences altogether. But look, I think Malsborough will win. My thoughts on last season's juveniles. I thought they were way above average, best crop we've seen for a long, long time. So they have been delivering again this season. So I'd be disappointed if he didn't win it. But I'll probably pay more attention to the back of the field, where some of them might be getting beginning their chasing education. is the way we're going to put it from now on. You mentioned Western Fold. In the Trenches is another one who was probably a professional loser over hurdles.
One of the biggest ever. Like this lad. Go on, Dec. I'll mention it after, but go on.
So he's going to win one, and he might just keep winning, and it won't be Saturday. But I'll be keeping an eye on them, watching how they all jump out the back. And I assume they'll be out the back. But look, I'd be disappointed if Marchborough doesn't win it on what I think of last season's juveniles.
Yeah, so 18 starts for In the Trenches, and he has been placed in 2/3 of those starts on the flat and over jumps and has never won a race. It's like the definition of chasing horses. It's unbelievable. I'd say, look, he'd give you great fun if you owned him, but you'd have you baiting your head against a wall at the same time as well. Especially after he's at an ability where he can win races, and he's still only 4 years of age, so you never know. You are right. He might just find himself in front one day and go, "Oh, this is brilliant," and sometimes they can take off. But I hope they do get a win into him, because he does deserve one. His owners definitely deserve one anyway. I think this is going to be Marlborough's to lose, Dec. I love that they've gone chasing with him straight away. Stick him over 2 miles, keep him over 2 miles, and I'd say he's a horse that'll go up and trip in a year or two's time, and have no issues with it. As far as Grade 1 prospects go, I think ideally I'd love him to be a horse that hits the crossbar a lot this year, because then when he's 5 rising 6 next year, he might be somehow under the radar that a little bit, and I think that's the way they're going to go with him. I don't think they're going to really put the gun to his head this year. I think he does win this. I've said it a million times. I would like Asian Master. I think he's a bit of a tricky enough ride, and I do feel that maybe Danny Mullins or maybe Brian Hayes or something like that might have been, could unlock a little bit more improvement in him. And that might sound a bit harsh, but I would love to see how he gets on. I hope he goes well.
Look, they're professionals for a reason, so
yeah, exactly. I think he's a very, very talented horse, but there'll be probably other days for him. I think Marlborough wins this, and I'd say there's going to be, because people are dying for it at this stage, especially with the way anti-post is going at Cheltenham. I'd say this is going to be one of the biggest overreactions of the season that we see. I'd say this goes favourite for the Arkle. It wins round, yeah. I'd say
with joint favourite with Sergino. Is Sergino favourite?
I'd say it has to be Ballyburn, doesn't it? But I'd say everyone suddenly Ballyburn can't jump at 2 miles, given his chasing debut. So I'm going to say this lad goes favourite after Saturday. Right, the race that I'm looking forward to the most, Dec, is the McInerney Properties rated novice chase over 2 miles 5. This is restricted for horses that were rated 140 or lower over hurdles. A really good incentive. I talked about it a bit on Joe's show last night, but this just gives horses an opportunity to basically not bump into the likes of Marlborough or Ballyburn or Firefox, horses like that. And it's a really good opportunity for horses to get an education and step up in grade with a bit of confidence under their belt. And the perfect horse is entered. The horse, like for horses like Kintur Calanisi, this is what these races are made for, I think. And I'm just going to straight up say I think he just goes and wins this race based on what he did at Navan behind better days.
What price would you have him at?
Well, look, on my books here, I have him favourite. Right. I know he was only a 125 rated or 126 rated hurdler, but he didn't lie away from Better Days Ahead or Slade Steel. Like, he tried to give them a race, and I don't think there was that bad an effort on ground. That would have been plenty quick enough for him. And this represents a drop in grade against what he ran against at Navan. I would have had him probably 5-2, 2-1, but I know he's going to be significantly bigger than that, which is the best part about it.
He's the rag on the tissues.
He's not 50-1. He's not fit. Kintur Calanese is not 50. Stop messing. All right, if he opens up 50-1, I'm
put on the money from the filly tomorrow.
Yeah, I'd be absolutely shocked if he goes off 50-1. I'd be having a nice bet on him regardless, because I don't think given what he showed at Navan, I don't think there's a reason that he wouldn't be able to get competitive in a race like this, because I think he could be a horse that wins an Irish Grand National or something like that. What do you think, Dec? Who do you like here?
No, look, I do like him. He beat Born Braver last year, who was, I think, is a decent enough yardstick, and Born Braver actually followed up and won again at Down Royal after that. I do like him. I remember talking about him maybe for the handicap last year as well. He placed in the listed handicap at Punchestown at the festival.
Yeah, good run that behind Maxim and there was another decent horse. He was third, wasn't he? Or was he second?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, look, he's only 6. He's definitely one that can, is probably going to improve an awful lot for the fence. Rainbow Trail, he was 4 lengths toward in the Florida Pearl. He was going all right when he came down, but it was very, very early before that. I punches down. He's interesting as well, but I'd probably take you on, Andy. Now, if he is 50s, I'll back him. I could not. Because you're very, very bullish, but I'd probably take him on with Willie's filly. Jedus Allen.
Jedusway Allen. Will we go Jedusway Allen? There's definitely a few silent characters in there, so it's not an easy
the
one.
one Paul Townend's riding anyway. She's only 5. She's the type. She won her beginners at Sligo back in October, I think, and I think she's one she could make it into a decent chaser, I think. So she's probably going to be short enough. I'll side with her.
Yeah, 121 rated hurdler. She's already improved, as you said, for a fence. There is winners in here, and that's maybe why Kinter Calanese is such a huge price.
Yeah.
So maybe here's me saying 5 to 2, 2 to 1's a joke, but I honestly think he's going to be a 140 odd, mid 140s chaser. And by season's end, I will stand by that. Given what he did on his chasing debut at Navan, so I will back him, and I will take it on the chin, I suppose, if he is outclassed or needs it. But I think he's the one that I'm definitely most excited about on this card at 12 o'clock. On to 12:30 then, Dec. Sign up to Gavin Lynch Racing.com, 3-year-old maiden hurdle. Have you signed up to Gav yet, Dec? No? Wouldn't imagine that's your cup of tea.
Maybe that's where we get all our tips, is it? Maybe he signed up to this. Maybe he's tuned in here.
Hey, he could well be. You never know. This is a 3-year-old. This is a 3-year-old maiden hurdle with 14 runners. Only the 14, I suppose, because they're on the inner track this weekend. I would imagine they can't take quite more than 14, because the parade ring can easily take more than 14 runners. Given that there's 3 reserves in here. Not a whole lot to go on, Dec. Beyond Your Dreams has been second twice. The filly by Fastnet Rock. Probably sets the standard. I know Slurricane has been placed in some decent enough maidens. Just not 100% sure he's seeing out his races to the best of his ability. I suppose he came home well enough at Down Royal, at Punchestown last time out. So maybe, and that was actually probably a strong enough maiden behind its Bilbo. And I see Lee Shanahan's taking the £7 off, which I'd say suppose you'd be happy enough to see, Dec. The one I will mention is Young Churchill. Obviously, when I see a juvenile hurdler by Churchill going hurdling, I always stand up and take note. I think he's a very underrated jump sire. He gets very, very little jumpers because obviously he's a top flat sire. But the jumpers that he does have, you definitely need to take note. This one is rated 78 on the flat. Has not won, but has been placed. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on for Noel Mead. Dec, who do you like here?
Look, there's been plenty of support for Slurricane on those last few runs. And look, I don't know whether Ross Sullivan's horses they're just being backed because of the summer he had, or they think he could be a right one, but they must think there's something there. And look, it's no secret what I think Lee Shanahan, I think he could be very, very dangerous now in the Kinmore with that £7, and he's a real cool, calm young man. And
should we see it on Count Anna?
Yeah, exactly. So I think he's a very, very good rider. But yeah, you mentioned Beyond Your Dreams, and probably does set the standard. But Babbage was 4th here behind Cool Dreamer, turn and finish, and put your hands together. But then really disappointed when unseating. The next day was beaten. Definitely needs to jump better, but if they can't sort that jumping out, I think, okay, if Babbage jumps, I'd say he's the one to beat. But it is a bit of a gamble. It's more of a watching brief for me, but if you're putting a gun to my head, I'd probably go with Babbage in the hope that those jumping issues are sorted out. It probably didn't look like they were the last day. But if he could repeat the run the first day behind Cool Dreamer, well then, could possibly put him in with a shout.
Yeah, I'll check the market for young Churchill. I imagine he'd be able to jump. Ran to a decent level on the flat, and I think this maiden is winnable for a debutant. It usually isn't, but yeah, I think he does have an opportunity. Balliearl probably deserves a mention too for Henry de Bromhead, because he is National Hunt bred. He's by Bucksboom. Not many of them you see going hurdling at 3, so he must be quite precocious. Be interesting to see how he gets on. I'd say he's a big lad. Might take the run, but interesting to see once with a National Hunt pedigree coming out at 3 this early. The 102 then, Dec, is Toe Always SP or better. Well, it should be pretty much Toe Always SP. Fairyhouse Novice Handicap hurdle. If you're listening to Tommy, you wouldn't really get more than SP. That's probably more of an inside joke, that one. Anyway, Dec, who do you like here? So this is an 80 to 109. 12 runners going to post. KPs of Lady Knock, probably the one that's going to be all the rage since it won last time out after a postcode style form, a pulled up, nowhere, pulled up, and then a winner. Thank you very much. And then there's one that obviously stays in the grade, My Lusa up the top there for Sean O'Keefe, and Mike Magnuson, who obviously won last time out and gets to stay in around this grade off 105. Who do you like here, Dec?
I'd say I was automatically drawn to Oakley. Now he was nudged up £2 for a second on his second handicap run, and that was his first run since May. So might strip a bit fitter here and go one better. But Albatala is probably the bet of the card, in my opinion.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. All right. I can see why. But go on, explain.
Yeah, look, she made her handicap debut here in October, and she was out the back getting an education, and was staying on, ran into a lot of trouble, obviously completely by accident. My only worry would be now she's 0 from 7 on the flat as well. She's never had her hand in front, but I reckon we could see a lot of improvement on Saturday, and she's probably well handicapped.
Right, so for this, obviously for the step up and trip.
Oh yeah,
obviously, yeah. Alex Harvey's £5 possibly. Did Alex Harvey? Yeah, well, I suppose Alex Harvey's £5. We'll go with that, and then the step up and trip. Thank you very much. Right, that's an interesting runner. All right, I've not much of an opinion on this race, Dec. I suppose Gavin Cromwell's horse is going to be probably a massive price. Jokers and Clowns with the first time tongue tie. Bits and pieces of form. Obviously, this horse came from the Point Field, or this mare came from the Point Field and had a bit of a. Well, she's a bit of a psychopath to put it mildly, Dec. You might remember her basically, nearly going the wrong way around Navan on her Rules debut at the start. You might remember at the start she bolted up the other way at Navan. They started the home straight, and she swung a left and ended up at basically going the wrong way around the track, and it went down as a refusal. Gave Keith Donoghue an absolute nightmare. She was beaten at a short price or a short enough price at Gowran, beaten favourite, I think. So it's all been kind of downhill from there. But if they can find her, if they can find her niche maybe with this first time tongue tie, like her early form, that run at Gowran and that point to point win, she'd be able to win off 104 if the tongue tie works. You are putting a lot of faith in that tongue tie, but she's a very well handicapped mare if the tongue tie works. Or if or she maybe needs to get used to it for another day. I don't know. We'll see how she goes. Jokers and Clowns. I might have a little bit on her if I see a little bit of money for her. Onto the 137 Dec. The Lacey's Plumbing and Heating Supplies maiden hurdle. A 3 mile maiden hurdle at this time of year. It's not my cup of tea in terms of taking horses out of it going forward. As I said, speed kills those that don't have it. And we do see Fishery Lane in here, who was, he ran a blinder. The Champion Bumper was 5th in it, at a big price under Mikey O'Sullivan. Paul Townend takes over today, and they start him at 3 miles. I would imagine he is the one that they all have to beat, Dec. But it's a bit of a concern seeing them starting at 3 miles. Do you think he jumps like a snooker table?
Yeah, probably it's I think in races like this, it's probably going to be worthwhile taking on the favourite. And I will with Ico. He was toward the Born Braver, who we mentioned earlier. You know, said it was a decent yardstick. Big stage was the second there. Only a 5-year-old. Look again, it's not a race. Been bad to have a punt on, but I think he could get a decent price about Ico, and I think he will be trying to win the race. So it might be a nice each way bet.
Right, Ico for Dec. I think Fishery Lane, given what he managed to do in the champion bumper, definitely sets the standard. My only worry would be that you know it was testing enough ground in that champion bumper, wasn't it? So, and like he really just did not turn up at Punchestown on much quicker ground really. You can always forgive a horse at Punchestown, but then again, Fishery Lane only had 2 starts prior to that. So it does leave a little bit to be desired. I do think he's the most likely winner. Stablemate in at the park, who is a 6-year-old, was beaten out of sight by Blue Devassi, and then was beaten by Sounds Victorious, who ran well in the champion bumper, but then disappointed behind a decent horse, probably a Philip Rothwell's actually, on his hurdling debut, but that form is probably a little bit in and out. So I do think Fishery Lane's the most likely winner, and it's Ico setting the standard at 119. You don't think anything beats him, or anything has the ability to get by 119, or you just think experience wins on the day?
Yeah, it will be more experience wins on the day, and like you 3 mile maiden hurdles this time of the year, like you've already said it. So
yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to see your horse entering that.
Come in with a bit of form, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, totally understand. Right, on to the 212 Fairyhouse Racecourse of the year. Good stuff, Peter Rowe. 2024 handicap hurdle, over 2.5 miles. Is it a dessert racecourse of the year, Dec? They do put in a big effort, I suppose.
I think Peter puts in a massive effort. Lovely man as well. But he works hard, and he is promoting the racecourse. Like it's Fairyhouse. It's where the Grand National is. Like, you know, I think they should get bigger crowds. They should get bigger crowds anyway, but they certainly should get bigger crowds for the work Peter puts in and the effort he puts in. And like, it's a brilliant race course.
Even some of the innovative, and even some of the innovative stuff that they do, like to defeat the low-lying sun, they've no obstacles, or no hurdles at least, and you know, at a stage down the back straight, you know, so all obstacles are jumped at, like little things like that, like really going out of your way to.
They've been trialing the new padded Easy Fix hurdles. That look like, you know, your traditional birch hurdles. And look, I just like the parade ring is lovely. The layout is great. It's a great race course. It's just, so sometimes I'd be scratching my head why they're not getting bigger crowds. But then I suppose it's a big race course as well. So
it is big, yeah.
You know, you'll have as many people there as you will at some of the smaller race courses. It just won't look as busy. But hopefully you get a decent crowd. Obviously lots Christmas parties there Saturday, and there's a good atmosphere, because
I'd say there will be.
Yeah, they do deserve it. But you know where I'm going here, and they do.
Go on. Nice.
Yeah. What?
You're gonna talk about Nice?
You know where I'm going to this race.
Oh, you know, JD Mac. Sorry, I thought you know where you're going here. I thought you were gonna say I thought you were gonna say like Nice is on par. Or something like that. I know you're a big fan of Nice, but I do feel like Fairyhouse, so, you know, those little innovative things. Like, look, with the hurdles, Nice, especially.
Yeah, Nice, Punchestown, Fairyhouse, probably my 3 favourite race courses in the country.
Is there? Yeah, no, I wouldn't be too far behind you with that one. Is it the certain horse that has a tongue tie in pieces first time, and Connor Stonewall has taken £5 off, Dec? Is that where you're going?
It would be. Be.
All right, go on. Tell us a little bit about the infamous, famous Hall of Famer jouster.
He managed to go up. He managed to go up £2, falling 3 or 4 out, still in about 6th position. Many horses can say that. You know, imagine going up £2 for falling that far out and that far back in the field. But it would have been all over it. He had not just crumbled on landing, but he did make amends for it. He came back to Fairyhouse and won off 94. He's gone chasing now since. And he's won a chase. So the fact they're coming straight back over hurdles tells me they still think there's another hurdle race in him. It's probably, you know, it's good placing in my opinion. And you know, if you think he's room off that mark, just come back, take the race, and then go back over fences. So I'd say it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think he wins as well, to be honest with you. He'll be favourite though, won't he, surely?
He'd be favourite, yeah. And look, he's to carry a lot of weight, but it's the
fact
that they're coming back over hurdles I think it's a tip in itself. Like,
but when you kind of see it, like outside of his point-to-pointing background, like his profile isn't too dissimilar to Countana. And now, especially what they're doing after he's winning a chase, now coming back hurt.
Yeah, want to chase the Tremor.
Yeah, want to chase the Tremor. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, no, I think it's a gilt edge opportunity. It's a nice bit of placing. It's a very winnable race, I think. And yeah, I do think it's a nice move by Gavin Cromwell here. Obviously, I suppose some respect has to be given to Stealthy Tom, who, look, he's clearly not as good a hurdler as he is Banks horse, and he's already been beaten off this mark. But you just, like, when they're so much lower over hurdles, you just always have to, like, keep it in the back of your mind. Like, I think he's a 140 rated chaser. He's in here off 98. Like, you know, he still needs to put it all together. But, like, you would be afraid if you saw a few quid from him, I'd say. And now that the cross country is a handicap again at the festival, I'd say he's a horse that is so far under the radars. People don't pay attention really to Banks races, and I'd say Enda's been waiting for that to become a handicap for years for this horse, because he's a very capable Banks horse, and he's one that you need to keep a very close eye on if you are inclined to have a bet in March. But no, it is Jouster for me as well, 100%. On to the 247 deck, the Fairyhouse Racecourse of the Year, 2024 Handicap Hurdle Division 2. This is such a good racecourse that we get two races named after it being the best. Like, this is, you know, we don't often boom winners, but Peter Rose booming the Racecourse of the Year twice there now. Double boom for Peter. Good man, Peter. Anyway, so the 13. As did you know Fairyhouse Racecourse of the Year deck? Actually, I just wanted to
twice.
Yeah, twice.
So good they won it twice.
So good they won it twice. Right. So the infamous Liberated Light, who's the younger full brother to a Dream to Share, in here as well. And I'm not backing him again. I've learned my lesson. I'm done with him. So it won't be him deck. There's 12 others to choose from as 13 go here. The 247, who do you like?
There was nothing really jumping out at me, and I don't normally go for horses who've won last time out, so I'm gonna go for one who's won the last two races. And it's Port Arlington. He won over hurdles here 2 starts ago. He beat a horse called Down Around trained by Philip Rodwell. That was off 88. He's up £8 off 96. He followed up in the chase off 95. He's only a 5-year-old, so I'd say that there's still plenty of improvement there. And look, there was just nothing really jumping out on me, so I do think Port Arlington will take this. I don't think there's anything. There's nothing I'd be usually looking for in here. So
yeah,
a horse who's on an upward curve, I'll take the chance.
All right. Well, look, Peter Rowe, who's a friend of the show, obviously Philip Rothwell's a friend of the show as well, and Miss Leah, who was it was about 4 months ago where she won her maiden hurdle. Look, to win a maiden hurdle and get a mark of 97, it obviously wasn't the strongest maiden hurdle you'll ever find at Tremor, but I think Philip deserves a lot of credit, because I think he's unearthed a gem in Tiernan Power Roach. Tiernan Power Roach, like he told me how he did, yeah. When we went down there, we recorded it. You can go back. He said, "Oh, Tiernan will ride this, Tiernan will ride that." No hesitation. Actually, almost reminded me when Ger Lyons made a very young and inexperienced Colin Keane his stable jockey. Now, obviously, it's on the flat, but it's very similar vibes to the way Philip has put his complete trust in Tiernan. And look, he's, as of right now, he's delivered in droves. And look, he's going to be a jockey you're going to be hearing a lot more about. And assuming Philip Rothwell doesn't have one for the Martin Pipe, and you never know, he might. The horse that won that maiden deck that I talked about, 40-1, ran a very eye-catching race behind Conal Mustard and that 4-year-old with the Beckett Rock race. Anyway, what I can't remember his name. They need to get a few more hurdle races into him now, but I'll find it out while you're talking about it. But long story short, I think Miss Leah takes all the beating here, especially with Tiernan Power Tiernan Power Roach's £7 claim. It's starting to look like a steal. It really is. So I think
it's 4.
Sorry.
Is it £4? Oh
no, it's 7 here. It was 4 in the 4 in the claimers race. Yeah,
4 in the claimers race. Yeah.
The horse I'm thinking about is Rocky Mountain Blue, who quite the eye catcher behind Kitzbühel and Conor Mustard the last day. Just a little bit outpaced, came home really well. Look, I don't know if Philip's going to be able to get 3 more runs into him before the Cheltenham Festival. Maybe he will. But if Philip's able to get him into the Martin Pipe under Tiernan, look out. That's all I'll say, because I think that's a very talented horse. The 320. That's a very bold show. I don't think it's going to happen because I just don't know if you're going to be able to get 3 more runs into him before March, before the deadline. Although, if we do get Philip on,
if you wanted to get 3 runs in,
if you wanted to get 3 runs, yeah, I'd say that horse could go well in the Martin Pipe. I really do. Anyway,
Philip, if you're listening.
Philip, if you're listening, and you can text him Dec after this, or maybe we'll get him on at Christmas again, possibly, and I'll tell him to get him in the pipe, Philip. Right. Unfortunately, we have to finish with a bumper. Look, I know bumpers are an important part of the sport, but as you know, me and you don't really give too much of a hoots about them, I suppose. And the aptly named future prospect for Willie and Patrick Mullins is probably going to be the favourite here. In the Magner colours, they're starting to pop up that little bit more, aren't they? We've had Butch Cassidy, we've had Meet Me in St. Louis for Mouse Morris, and now we have Future Prospect in these colours. Do you think she's the most likely winner, Dec, or did you give much time to this?
Yeah, I'd say she's the most likely winner. Yeah. Whatever you said.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I
didn't look Andy.
I don't.
Hang on. It's also owned by the Bronsons.
All right, okay.
So, John Magner and Bronson Racing.
Okay.
Actually,
so
showing the Bronson colours on Irish Racing website.
It's interesting. Wow. All right. Well, that I wonder now what colours it will rock up in, but yeah, I don't want to change the subject, but I think Magner could have a nice year over sticks. So Butch, I was a bit worried about Butch Cassidy. He got no entry at Christmas, but he got a Slaney hurdler or Lawler's entry today. So I'm very excited I'm going to go and I will be backing him for the Lawlers, and hopefully he goes and wins that, because I still think he's one of the best novices I've seen this year. So good for Magner. Maybe run it back with French Ballerina. She won the Supreme, didn't she, in those colours? So maybe you get another festival winner. We never know. Right, Dec, best bets. You have one, I believe, as we record on Thursday night. You have one for Friday at Cork. So why don't you take it away?
Yeah, I've 2 for Cork.
Okay, you've 2. But you've one proper one for but
yeah, they've both shortened. Since opening. They were given away last night, but for any of our listeners who missed, I'll give it out again. Sorry that the price is gone, but who knows? sorry
that our free podcast has given away. Apologies.
Look, we won't do it again. Maybe it was just what was said last night, and maybe she's not off and she'll drift back out, and you can have the 50s again tomorrow.
Quite possibly. You lose your money then.
The first one is 105 2-mile handicap hurdle. Warden's Whisper. This is actually the race where Tiernan Power Roach is claiming for, is the claimers race. Up £3 for the third and second handicap run. Probably a little bit harsh, but wasn't beaten far. The stablemate Duffy's Howie was second, has actually followed up, and look, if the horse can cope with the £3 rise, which probably will, because was probably a winner in another race. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was that close, and the second has followed up. I do think Heidi's Frontier could be a danger if fit, but if not, I think she'll go in the next day. But the one I really, really fancy is at 2:12. A handicap hurdle over 2.5 miles.
The listeners are gonna. The listeners are gonna go to this one and go, for Jesus' sake.
I know.
They say, yeah. Go on, Knocknagar lady. First time tongue tie deck. Go on.
There's something up here because 365. 11 to 2. 365 priced this race up this morning. The lowest grade on the card, and no other race priced up. Like, who prices this racing up like the morning before? It's usually about 5 o'clock, and it was the only race priced up, unless they're all out to make a tick out of me.
Because on the job training for the intern, we'll price up the nobody wants to have a bet in the 80 to 95 at Cork. We'll teach the intern how to do that, and then suddenly Knocknagar and late mullered out of it.
Yeah, well, look, she made her debut over this trip, which she was staying on quite well, and then dropped her back to 2 mile 2, and again she was staying on. Her last run in a maiden, she was never better than midfield, and then right back to 2 miles in October for her handicap debut. Going lickety split, hurdles coming at her fast, really sharpen up that jumping for the next day. I expected her to open at bar to 1, and I reckon if they'd
did.
What?
She pretty much did.
20s, I was disgusted. When I seen that this morning at 20s. I wanted someone to go capital bar to 1. I wanted that 3 pages down. For 20s is as good as we got. At the spark up 365. Like this morning, I wasn't even. Somebody had to text me to say 20 to 1, and I was gone. Somebody's reading the tissues here. I was like, someone doesn't know what they're looking at. They're reading the tissues. Went on at 0 to 95 at Cork on a Friday, priced up on Thursday morning. So, look, I took some 20s, I took some 8s, and I done the double with Warden's Whisper. So, happy Christmas, guys. It's a Guinness or a red wine when you see me, and have a good one, right? Enjoy the holidays.
There we go. If you could be any more confident that this thing has already crossed the line, by the way. This would be good.
This horse is back in someone's boozer. Already.
It's already won.
I could end up with egg on my face here, but this is what we look for.
I respect it. This is exactly what we look for.
This is what we look for on this show. It's ticking every box we want ticked. Every single one of them. The only thing that could mess this up is the guy in 365 who priced this up first thing this morning. Pressed the button by accident. Who pressed that button? The owners haven't got on. That is the only thing that can get this horse beat is the guy in bet 365. So if you beat, don't come to me. It's the guy in
blame Denise, yeah.
Like, just open up when everyone else was open up. Somebody was going to slip up. They were going to get 66s somewhere. But no.
We have to settle for 20s.
And that 20 to 1 lingered all day. I was going, please be still 20 to 1. Please be still 20 to 1. And then this afternoon, it started to collapse. 8 to 1 by the time everything else was opened up. Absolutely ruined Christmas. The Grinch. It was the Grinch and bet 365. Got that up first thing this morning.
But it's like in wrestling when you get hit over the head with a chair. It's a bang. There goes Christmas.
Number 13 on Friday the 13th. Happy Christmas.
It all adds up. Happy Christmas, Dec. No, that was a wonderful speech. And don't blame Dec, blame Bet365.
It's the Grinch and Bet365.
Fantastic. Look, I'm going to be back in Kinter, Calanese and Jouster this weekend. They'll be my 2 main bets. I don't care if Dec's egging me on that he's going to be 50 to 1. He's not going to be 50 to 1. He's only... and if he is, I will give up the game. But yeah, no, very much looking forward to the Cardiff Fairyhouse. Keep an eye on us for our Christmas schedule. We need to probably work that out. I probably need to sit down and have a chat. There's so much racing. So we'll try and preview as much of it as possible. Obviously be Christmas parties and social events and all sorts, but we'll work around it. We'll get some.
We might never do a show again after tomorrow.
We might never get to do a show again. We might be retired. Dec might be in Cancun for Christmas if this thing wins. So after he's taken all those.
We would have been if that young fella didn't press the wrong button this morning.
Yeah, there's the intern's fault. All right. Well, the main thing is just to keep
sending bets to the traders and stuff.
All right. We'll just keep liking, sharing, subscribing on Twitter, commenting. If anybody listened to Joe's podcast and got the better price, don't forget to let us know in the comments. If not, look, it'll probably hopefully goes off shorter than 11 to 2, and we all have a lovely Christmas.
If she circles out the back and it doesn't happen, she will win the next day.
Yeah, that's it. It's the not this day, the next day rule is in force here.
You'll get it back, yeah.
Very good. Right. Well, all the best, guys. That was a real pleasure. So, we'll be back for Tap 81, I'm sure, early next week. And until then, guys, bye-bye.
Cheers.